Greetings and welcome to this week's edition of 401k Real Talk. This is Fred Barstein, contributing editor at wealthmanagement.com's RPA Edge and CEO at Trout, TPSU, and 401k TV. I review all of last week's stories and select the most important and interesting ones, providing open, honest, and candid discussion you will not get anywhere else. So let's get real. First story, the SEC fined 15 firms $1.1 billion, including Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and UBS, for failure to capture their employees' conversations on personal messaging apps. 8 firms alone agreed to pay $125 million each. It is a strong message for all broker-dealers who can expect these types of questions in examinations going forward. And even though the SEC did not point to specific harms caused by these supervisory failures, they noted it could hinder investigations going forward. Technology is changing the way that people communicate, which is a challenge for highly regulated industries, especially those that capture sensitive client data. For example, Morgan Stanley was fined $35 million by the SEC for exposing data of 15 million clients on resold computers and lost servers. Next story. Claiming victory, Empower CEO Ed Murphy said that they were able to retain 92% of participants from the MassMutual acquisition, 87% of plans, and 91% of assets. Their expectations were in the mid to low 70s. Still, that means that 2,600 plans moved, including MassMutual's own plan, which went to Fidelity. And recent research by Fidelity shows that 48% of plans are actively looking for a new provider. Murphy claims that valuations are decreasing and capital is harder to find, but still predicts that DC provider consolidation will continue, all of which will contribute to increased provider turnover. Next story, the ICI Brightscope review of 2019 Form 5500 data shows that most plans offer a match, of which 50% of the first 6% is the most popular. Employer matches accounted for 31% of all contributions, and 15% of employers contribute without requiring matching contributions by participants. Larger plans had an average of 28 investment options, but just 86% offered target date funds, and 43% of plans with more than $1 billion in assets were in index funds, while 85% of plans with less than $1 million did not even offer an index fund. A stretch match would increase contributions overall as participants tend to contribute to the match, though very few plans deploy it. And putting the match formula in dollar amounts, even as examples, would also help, as most people don't understand percentages. State mandates do not allow for employer matches, which is likely to cause new private plan growth, with Oregon, for example, showing a 71% increase after their mandate was imposed, and Cal Savers, 62%. Next story. A recent survey by Nationwide Retirement Institute showed that due to rising living costs, 40% of workers 45 or older are delaying retirement, which is double the rate during COVID. 36% of employers said that this delay is affecting their ability to hire new talent, and 35% indicated that their costs increased as a result, also affecting morale, productivity, and the health of workers. Up from 53% in 2021, 2/3 of workers cited inflation as their top concern in retirement, fueling a growing interest and guaranteed income, all of which puts more importance on employers, not only helping workers to prepare for retirement, but also assist with other issues like managing debt. Finally, with all but 4 states having state retirement mandate legislation at some level, led by Oregon, California, and Illinois, there will likely be an explosion of startup plans by smaller businesses. Though easy to set up with limited liability, most state mandates are just IRAs and with no match possible, and most employers favor private options according to Pew Research. The DC industry relies on asset-based fees, which do not work for startups. And RPAs avoid small plans, while wealth managers don't like DC plans at all. So the question of who will sell and service potentially millions of new plans, which will stress the current DC system, is covered in my column this week on RPA Edge. So those were the most important stories from the last week. I listed a few additional others I thought were worth reading. Please let me know if I missed anything or if you have any comments. Otherwise, I look forward to speaking to you next week on 401k Real Talk.